just a quick announcement before I give the word on Wednesday. Seniors, be sure and get your stuff in for Senior Sunday. I don't know if Senior Sunday will be the day that we have scheduled, but we still will need to get everything in so that when we get ready to do Senior Sunday, we have the stuff. So I'd really appreciate it if you would do that. We've been talking about questions that teenagers ask. And we are looking at a new question. And this question is kind of, I've read it several times. It's a little lengthy, but I'm going to go ahead and read it again. It says, in dealing with authority, how can I explain things or make a point without sounding argumentative or disrespectful? Why do authority figures sometimes assume they know what you are thinking? I began to think about this, and I think, what's the best way to have this conversation? And this might be a great place if families are listening to pause and just hear what your kids say. How do they think that they should talk to authority figures or have a conversation with them? If they feel like they're maybe being disrespected, that would be great. So y'all could do that if you want to have some family discussion either now or after. Online school. I know everybody's doing it right now. We're struggling with online school at our house. And it's an interesting thing in that you got all these teachers giving you all this different assignment, all this work, and you're trying to turn it in. You're trying to get it turned in correctly. I know some of y'all may feel overwhelmed with it. It takes a long time to do some of this stuff. And I know that probably some of you guys are going, why are they doing this? This is crazy. Why are they making us go through all this hassle? And you maybe even think some bad things about your teacher because of what they have you doing. And I think this is a good thing when we're talking about authorities, because every one of us have people over us that are people of authority. I made a list of things that students or people that are over students. Teachers is one, parents is another, and laws are another thing. And I think one of the bad things about all this authority is you've got all these different people telling you how you're supposed to think, telling you what you're supposed to do, and I know it gets upsetting. I used to have a plaque up in my office that said, attention all teenagers, move out now while you still know everything. I know as a teenager, the last thing you want is somebody telling you what to do. I see it in my own kids. They get frustrated when we start telling them how to do things, and you're trying to grow and become your own person, and why do I have to listen to these people? And I'm going to give you a simple answer for that. It's God's plan. I will tell you that God takes submission very seriously. In the Old Testament, one of the sins that was punishable by death in the Old Testament was rebellion. And rebellion is when you are purposely disobedient to someone, where you want to stand up and stand opposite of them. And a child who was rebellious to his parents were supposed to be taken to the city gates and stoned in the Old Testament. I would say that that's pretty serious, and you might ask them, why would God feel this way? Because God set up for us to be under or submissive to other situations like government officials and police officers and our parents and people over us. Romans 13:1 says, everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God, meaning this was God's plan for how the world would look. And he said, consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. You got to get this right. You've got to learn how to talk to people that are over you. And that's the whole question that teens ask. How do I have this conversation with people who are over me? I want to be respectful. I want to be that person, but how do I do it? I made a short little list. Again, a good thing to talk about as a family if you're doing this. But number one, you got to be respectful when you have conversations with people that are over you. I remember hearing this at one point where someone was in the military and they couldn't stand their commanding officer. They thought he was a jerk and they just didn't like him at all. And the commanding officer made the following statement. He said, honor the rank, not the man. And there comes a point that even if I don't like my teacher, I have to honor her position. And I need to remember something, and this is something that's very important. And learning how to submit, and I've had this as number 4, we have to see the world not just through our eyes. Now, the reason we get so frustrated with teachers is we think that they went home and they derived all this stuff for us to do, or my parents are just unreasonable, and we're unable to take a moment and step back and see life through more than just my personal perspective. The thing is, an important question to ask would be, why are those teachers making all these assignments? Why are my parents asking me to do this? Why is the law like this? If you can get over yourself for just a second and you can ask those questions, you might come to realize that those teachers probably don't want to do those assignments any more than you do, but they have somebody in authority over them that's telling them to do that. And that person has somebody in authority over them that's telling them to do that. And so it's a chain of submission, and you're just at the bottom of the chain, and you can get upset about it, and you make a big deal about it, or you can do what you should do as a child of God and submit and do it. It doesn't mean you can't ask questions. It doesn't mean that you can't go, hey, why is this going on? But as you do that, you must be respectful. And respect only comes if you do the second thing, and that's, you gotta be submissive. And submission's a really hard thing because we think submission is weakness, but submission, remember, Jesus was submissive to the cross. Jesus had the ability to snuff out everybody on the planet, and yet he let the people on the planet crucify him. I say to you that submission is power under control. To actually submit to someone, you have to have the ability not to submit to them. Okay? And if I cannot submit to you and I choose to put myself under you, that's the act of submission. And here's the thing with my parents. I don't like their rules. I don't like what they're saying. I don't like how they're talking. I don't like what Brother Keith is saying. I don't like this. You make a choice on who, even though I may not like it, I'm going to respect the rank, I'm going to respect the position, I'm going to put myself under it. And I have to see things through more than just my perspective. There's a reason why the coach is telling me this. I wonder how many of us ever take a moment when the coach is getting on to us at school and we go, I wonder if I really was loafing. I wonder if I really wasn't playing as well as I should have been at this moment. I wonder if there's some truth to what he's saying. I will say to you guys that putting yourself under authority, it's difficult through your entire life. And this is not just a teenage thing. I'm an adult and I still have to do the same thing. I have to place myself under those people that are over me. I have a boss. I have laws that I obey just like you guys. So I would say if you're struggling with somebody, then go to them and talk to them in a respectful manner and be willing to listen to what they have to say. And it may come to a point where you just have to say, I submit, and I realize that this, number 4, is not in my control, and I just have to do what I have to do. And that's the thing, and I wish my kids, my own personal kids, would get this with the homework and different things like that. Ultimately, you just got to do it. So you can be all rebellious about it, or you can just bite down and do what you have to do. Sometimes you just have to do stuff. And that's the way it goes. So that's the answer to the question. This would be a great one for families to talk about. If you need something, you need to talk to me. I'm calling through and talking to different people as we go along. And you guys stay healthy out there. And let me pray for you and we'll move on. Lord, thanks for this day. Just bless everybody. If there's someone who's struggling with somebody in a relationship, help them, Lord, to have the wisdom to go and have a good, honest, constructive conversation with them. We love you, Lord. I know that Luke will be moving here soon. Just bless him and his family as our new pastor comes on. And God, thank you so much for the way you love us. All these things we're praying in your name. Amen.